Hello students, it's Dr. A.S. Chami and now you are watching gallbladder series. So after cholelithiasis, we are going to study about choledocholithiasis. So let's draw gallbladder. It's our gallbladder and its cystic duct. Here comes hepatic duct and it forms, let's remove it and find it, CBD, common bile duct. As you already know, in cholelithiasis there is formation of stones or concretion of gallstones in gallbladder. So what is choledocholithiasis? Presence of gallstones in common bile duct is called choledocholithiasis. So that's our definition. Now we are going to discuss about epidemiology. The same epidemiology we discussed about cholelithiasis. So you are going to study about everything in revision epidemiology. So I am going to tell you the different features which differentiate it from cholelithiasis. As now our stone is present in CBD, so there will be some symptoms which differentiate it from cholelithiasis. So epidemiology, high highly present in females as compared to males. So usually patients are present after 40 years of age. So now we are going to discuss the etiology. So as you already know, in cholelithiasis there is formation of stones which are of three types: cholesterol stones, black pigmented stones, or brown pigmented stones. So what is the etiology of common bile ducts, stones in common bile ducts? So your mind will says that gallbladder is having ability to contract, to push, to force the bile into CBD and then to duodenum. So when this gallbladder contracts, it pushes stones towards CBD. So what will happen? There are two causes of stone in CBD. So first cause, which is most common, is secondary choledocholithiasis. So what is secondary choledocholithiasis? It is the most common cause. So what will happen in this? When there is contraction of gallbladder, it leads to passage of stones to CBD. So what will happen when there is passage of stone in CBD? There is obstruction. So now you are seeing that when the stone formed in this gallbladder, it is a storehouse, it resides in it. So what will happen when it moves towards CBD and it resides in CBD? What will happen? There will be no flow of bile from liver and from gallbladder. So what will happen? As the stone is present in CBD, it will lead to spasm of biliary tract. So what is the risk factor of most common cause or secondary choledocholithiasis? Is already presence of stones in gallbladder. Cholelithiasis, main risk factor. So the next etiology is patient may have primary choledocholithiasis. So it is not a common cause. So patient presents having those conditions in which there is bile stasis. In cholelithiasis there is also bile stasis, but the in primary choledocholithiasis there is something which leads to formation of stone in this duct. If the etiology leads to formation of stone in this duct, it is called primary choledocholithiasis, and few diseases are associated with it. Like in primary choledocholithiasis there is bile stasis in CBD, leads to intraductal stone formation. There is formation of stone in the duct, CBD. So what are the risk factors of primary cholecystectomy? First risk factor we are going to study is our cystic fibrosis. So as you already know, cystic fibrosis is a disease in which there is ciliated immortality. So next thing is, if a patient is on total parenteral nutrition, TPN, or total parenteral nutrition for a prolonged period of time, so what will happen, there will be no release of bile, there will be bile stasis. So the third cause, which is very common in Pakistan as also, is a patient after cholecystectomy presents with same right upper quadrant pain, so after few months, so it is called post cholecystectomy choledocholithiasis. So what it what in this situation happens, there is a residual stone which resides in CBD, residual stone in CBD. So during cholecystectomy, the surgeon could not observe that there is a stone in CBD, and after 3 years, within 3 years, these stones become symptomatic. So patient presents with choledocholithiasis within 3 years of surgery. So it is not a specific time that patient comes within three, maybe he presents to us within 2 weeks of surgery, 3 weeks of surgery, 3 months of surgery. So what are the risk factors of residual stones? So patient have recurrent stone formation. So patient have recurrent stones. So different causes are associated with these recurrent diseases, like dilated CBD, or strictures in CBD, or chronic cholangitis, or patient having severe hemolysis like sickle cell anemia, or patient after a bariatric surgery have recurrent stones, may have recurrent stones. So next thing is very important, which will differentiate our topic from cholecystectomy, is clinical feature. So how will we differentiate that the patient is of cholecystectomy or cholecystectomy? So in cholecystectomy there is a right upper quadrant constant dull pain, while in cholecystectomy there is same pain, right upper quadrant pain, but in cholecystectomy the pain is not more than 6 hours. So in cholecystectomy pain is more severe and prolonged. So let's discuss about its prolongation. This pain lasts more than 6 hours. So you ask a patient that how many hours he has been suffering from this pain, or the duration of pain, and he will tells you that he is having this pain from 7 hours, 8 hours, or last 12 hours. So the pain is more than 6 hour prolongation. So the same cause is here. Patient is after food intake, postprandial right upper quadrant pain. So you ask about the radiation of pain, and he tells you that pain radiates to epigastrium, referred pain radiates to epigastrium. Or where is cholecystectomy pain referred? Right shoulder. And where else it radiates? It radiates to back. It is called referred pain. So what else a patient of cholecystectomy present, and also of choledocholithiasis present, is nausea plus vomiting plus anorexia. In cholecystectomy there is early satiety. In here you are finding anorexia because the pain is severe and most prolongation. So patient will have anorexia. So the main differentiating feature, the second main differentiating feature in our clinical feature is, we will find signs of extrahepatic cholestasis. So what does it mean? Cholestasis. What is cholestasis? Cholestasis is a condition in which bile production, let's understand it by a diagram. It is our liver. It produces bile. You are seeing it, left hepatic duct or right hepatic duct. So what will happen? A bile is produced, and from common hepatic duct it leads to gallbladder, and it leads to via common bile duct to duodenum. So what will happen? There is formation of bile, but there is an obstruction. You are seeing an obstruction. So here is an obstruction. What will happen? There will be accumulation of bile in gallbladder, in here, in here, in here as well. So what will happen? There is a stasis of bile outside the liver or extrahepatic cholestasis. So there will be signs of extrahepatic cholestasis. So what signs are extrahepatic cholestasis? These are patient will have, as you know, that the bile is not excreted. So the main culprit here is bile. So bile is not excreted outside the body. So what will happen? It leads to signs of extrahepatic cholestasis. What are the signs? We are going to study about the sign. First sign is patient will have jaundice. So the bile is not reaching to duodenum, and it is not involving in digestion of fatty foods or other food elements which is present in alimentary canal. So patient will have, you will ask about stool history, and he tells you that I have pale stool. What will happen? You will ask about urine history. There will be dark urine coloration. So you will ask about itching history, and patient will have itching. These are the signs of extrahepatic cholestasis. So these may be present in choledocholithiasis patient. So patient may have complications of a patient may present complications like acute pancreatitis, acute cholecystitis, or acute cholangitis. So these can be present. So how will we approach for diagnosis? Our important part here is diagnosis. In cholelithiasis, first we perform ultrasound abdomen. What we do? We do ultrasound abdomen. So here what will we do? Now the stone has passed to common bile duct. First of all, we will evaluate whether the liver's function is working normal or not. So we will do LFTs. So you have to remember here that there are two things that you have to do: right upper quadrant ultrasound and LFT. This is our initial evaluation. You have to perform it on a stepwise approach. You do not write in your prescription LFT, right upper quadrant ultrasound, CT abdomen, CT, MRI abdomen, ERCP, MRCP, everything, etc, etc. You are not writing. You go in a stepwise approach. So initially, to evaluate a patient, we first do LFTs and right upper quadrant ultrasound. These are the first line diagnostic tests. So what will we find here? So in choledocholithiasis, there will be rise in ALP, and there will be rise in GGT. And what will happen? There will be increase total and direct bilirubin. So what are the causes? Direct bilirubin. Bilirubin is not passing to GIT. So what next we perform? We perform right upper quadrant ultrasound. What we call it? Transabdominal RUQ ultrasound. So This is the first line imaging modality. So if a patient comes to you with right upper quadrant pain and jaundice, you have to perform it right upper quadrant pain ultrasound. So what will we find? We find dilated CBD. Why will be dilated? As you already know, the pipes is blocked from in its this side. So what will happen? There will be stasis built up of pressure here. As the pressure is built up, there will be dilation of CBD. So what else we can also find? We will find a stone. Obstruction is due to a stone. We'll find a stone in CBD. So what else we can find? We can find stones in gallbladder. As a one stone moves to transfers to CBD, and there may be multiple stones in gallbladder, which indicates that there are stones in gallbladder and CBD. So next what we are going to do, as you already know that we are studying about right upper quadrant. This is our liver, this is our gallbladder, this is our duodenum, this is our pancreas. So we are studying this part. So we have to rule out whether there is inflammation of gallbladder or not. So we will perform a CBC. So what will we find in CBC? If there is acute cholecystitis, um, there will be leukocytosis, which are seen is leukocytosis seen in infections. Leukocytosis, like if a patient is having acute cholecystitis or cholangitis, there will be leukocytosis. So if there are, we will perform amylase and lipase test to rule out our those organs which are present in right upper quadrant. To check amylase and lipase level, if there is biliary pancreatitis, these are elevated in biliary pancreatitis. So if they are not elevated, these will be if there is no biliary pancreatitis, these will be normal. So let's move towards our next diagnostic investigation. Next diagnostic investigation is CT abdomen with contrast. If you wanted to know about the nature of stones, like if whether they are radio, why we are not performing a chest or abdomen x-ray? Because 10 to 20% stones are radio radio I am missing it. Let me check again, I'll tell you. So those stones which contains calcium, so I was telling you why we are not going to perform chest x-ray or abdominal x-ray. The thing is that only 15 to 20% stones are radio opaque. Like, radio opaque means when x-rays are passed on such stones, there will be white or light shadow. So if there is a radiolucent stone is present in, like a cholesterol stone is present in CBD, it will show a dark shadow. So it will hinder in our diagnostic point. So we usually do not perform abdominal x-ray. So what will we do? We will do CT abdomen with IV contrast. So what will we find in CT abdomen and with IV contrast? We will find CBD dilated, same finding which we are finding in ultrasound abdomen. So it will be with or without dilation of intrahepatic biliary tree. Intrahepatic biliary tree. So what else we will find? We in CT abdomen with IV contrast, there will be target sign. So what is target sign? There will be concentric rings formed concentric rings formed by central hypodense area where hypodense stones which is surrounded by a rim of hyperdense bile. So target site will be present. Concentric rings formed by centrally hypodense area, hypodense stone surrounded by a rim of hyperdense bile. So next thing is calcium containing stones may be visualized within the CBD. These stones are only 15 to 20% present. So calcium containing stones can also be visualized in CT abdomen with IV contrast. Next thing is our ERCP. Diagnostic point is ERCP, endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography. So what will happen in this diagnosis, in this diagnostic test? So what we are going to do is we are going to insert an endoscope from duodenum to CBD, and then we are going to look for the site of obstruction, site of stones, either it is in where it is located, as we have studied that CBD is located upward to duodenum, lower to duodenum, behind the duodenum. So we have to locate where this stone is present. It is a therapeutic as well as diagnostic test. So if a patient is having acute biliary pancreatitis, we are not going to perform ERCP. It is the most important contraindication you have to remember. So what will we find? We will find filling defect, like it, the endoscope do not pass beyond this stone. So what will happen? There will be filling defect. What else we will find? Dilation of intrahepatic biliary tree. And the third finding we are going to get in ERCP is cholelithiasis within the gallbladder lumbar. So ERCP is a diagnostic as well as therapeutic test. So next test we can perform is MRCP. So if a patient having intermediate likelihood of choledocholithiasis, or a patient having suspected post cholecystectomy choledocholithiasis, will perform MRCP. So what we will find? We will find the same findings of ERCP in our MRCP. So next diagnostic test is endoscopic ultrasound. An endoscope attached with an ultrasound probe is used for diagnosis. So uh, it is a second line confirmatory imaging modality if we are unable to perform MRCP. So what we will find? We will find same findings which are present in trans-abdominal right upper quadrant ultrasound. So how will we treat a patient having stone in his CBD? So treatment is recommended in all patients having symptoms or not. So we are going to treat all patients. Treatment. So first of all, we'll give initial support to patient. So what was the initial support we gave to patient in cholelithiasis? We make him bowel rest, nil per oral. So what else we provide him? We provide him analgesics, spasmolytics, antiemetics, If there is heavy vomiting and fluid loss, we will give him IV fluid therapy. Plus, after basic metabolic panel, we provide him electrolytes. So next, what will go will will go for removal of stone. So stone is removed by different methods. There are two methods which we use. First one is endoscopy, which is called as endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography, ERCP. The next test is LBCDE, not LGBTQ, it is LBCDE. I am going to tell you this. These are two surgical. This is not an as invasive as LBCD. What is LBCD? It is LB laparoscopic bile duct exploratory extraction. So it is hard to remember. Laparoscopic bile duct exploratory extraction of stone. So first of all, we perform ERCP, guided stone extraction. So what is the indication of this procedure? If patient is suspected of choledocholiciasis, so we will perform ERCP. So if a patient having cholangitis, it is the indication of ERCP guided stone. So if a patient having biliary pancreatitis, which is due to persistent choledocholithiasis, we perform ERCP guided stone extraction. So what is this procedure leads to? This procedure consists of stone removal plus a combination of anything we are going to discuss, plus either we place a stent in CBD stenting. Next thing, it is combined with these things: endoscopic removal of stone plus stenting placement. Next thing is sphincterotomy and papillary balloon dilation. Next is papillary balloon dilation only, no sphincterotomy. So the next combination with stone removal is papillotomy. So what is papillotomy? It is also called sphincterotomy. The sphincter of Oddi is incised in papillotomy using a cautery. So what will happen? It leads to widening of lumen of CBD. So when the lumen is widened, so what will happen? There will be uh, we will we will be facilitated to remove stone easily. So what will happen? We will place a basket or a balloon and we will be facilitated by this papillotomy or widening, and we will take out the stone. This is called papillotomy. So our next procedure is LBCDE, laparoscopic bile duct exploratory extraction. So what is the indication? It is an alternative procedure to ERCP. Alternative procedure. So if there is a surgical expert, if there is a surgeon expert in laparoscopy present, so we'll go for LBCDE. So if a stone is not suited for extraction by ERCP, will perform LBCDE. So if a patient having GI anatomy altered or different from others, like there is already a surgery like Roux-en-Y anastomosis have been developed in such patients, so we'll perform laparoscopic bile duct exploratory stone extraction. So what is the procedure of this what is this procedure? In this procedure we are going to make an incision in cystic duct. You know where cystic duct, the duct, this is our gallbladder, this is our cystic duct, this is our hepatic duct, common hepatic. Both these form join and form CBD. So what we are going to do in laparoscopic bile duct exploratory stone extraction, we are going to give an incision in cystic duct, or we are going to give an incision in common bile duct. So and after incision we are going to flush out this stone. At this time my battery is on 30%, so I am speaking very low energetic. As well my parents are sleeping in other rooms, so I am not speaking very loudly. So next treatment plan we can give to such treatment option we can give to some patient is lithotripsy. If there is a large stone is large and we cannot perform ERCP, so we are going to perform lithotripsy. And if the CBD is of complex structure, CBD is complex structure or complex anatomy, we are going to perform lithotripsy. So you try as a surgeon to perform ERCP or laparoscopically, but you could not remove or extract the stone. So what will you do? You will go for lithotripsy. So there is an alternative procedure we can uh, do is we can do elective interval cholecystectomy. So it is indicated in all those patients having intermediate symptoms, not very severe symptoms. If there are severe symptoms, you have to perform emergency surgery to remove the stone. So if a patient is stabilized and symptoms are not worsened, so you give an option to go for elective interval cholecystectomy. So what is our goal to perform this procedure? It prevents the recurrence of stones. So how we are going to perform? We are going to perform it laparoscopically. So every patient which comes to you with choledocholithiasis, we have to give him a option of go for elective interval cholecystectomy. So if a patient comes to you with uncomplicated choledocholithiasis, you will give him, you have done ERCP and you confirm out your diagnosis, you will treat within 72 hours by interval cholecystectomy. So if patient comes to you with mild biliary pancreatitis, during your hospital stay patient develop biliary pancreatitis, you will perform elective interval cholecystectomy. So if a patient comes to you with cholangitis, when cholangitis develops, you perform ERCP and you remove the stones. After within 6 weeks, patient develops cholangitis, you are going to perform interval cholecystectomy. So if patient develops acute cholecystitis, you will perform cholecystectomy, early cholecystectomy or delayed. It, it depends on the situation of patient. So these are all the treatment modalities you can utilize or you can use in treating choledocholithiasis. So now we are going to discuss about the complications. What complications can arise? First thing is this CBD stone can move to GI tract like duodenum and it leads to gallstone ileus, mechanical bowel obstruction due to obstructive gallstone. So you have to understand my cholelithiasis topic or video in which I tells about Mirizi syndrome or biliary enteric fistula formation. So you have to understand this thing. So in gallstone ileus, I am going to tell you the sites of obstruction. This can be terminal ileum at ileocecal valve, most common site, or duodenum. These are the sites where gallstone ileus can develop. So next complication is gallstone pancreatitis. So what is gallstone pancreatitis or biliary pancreatitis? It is the most common acute pancreatitis type. So when a gallstone passes through CBD and impacted just pass to the pancreatic duct, you are understanding. uh, Here gallbladder, cystic duct, here it comes hepatic duct, common bile duct, as you already know main pancreatic duct, and here it enters the duodenum. So main pancreatic duct. If there is obstruction at this site, this leads to inflammation of pancreas or infection of pancreas due to stasis of pancreatic secretions, main pancreatic duct. This leads to biliary pancreatitis. So if it is also a complication of biliary pancreatitis is a complication of choledocholithiasis. So next complication is acute cholangitis. Next is acute cholecystitis. Next thing which can form is biliary strictures, or the least common complication is pyogenic liver abscess can develop. So what is acute cholangitis? It is ascending bacterial infection of biliary tract which is facilitated by bile stasis. Then there will be no flow of water. As you know, if water resides in a pipe, when you do not use the pipe for longer period, there will be development of algae. The same here is the cause. So acute cholangitis is also a complication of acute choledocholithiasis. Choledocholithiasis. So what is acute cholecystitis? It is acute inflammation of gallbladder. You getting it? Due to some bacterial cause or some bile stasis can and leads to complications. So that's all about acute choledocholithiasis. If you have any question you can ask.